Hey, what's going on, folks? HeirofCarthage here, and we are back in Warhammer 3, and I'm going to be doing some more coverage of patch 2.2. I'll be getting back to some of my more common content here soon, but you all seem to be really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying covering it because I need to know what's going on in patch 2.2 as well. If you all haven't seen it already, I've got a review of each of the new Regiment of Renown, and then yesterday we discussed the changes to minor settlement battles, which I was not happy with. Some of you seemed okay with, and then others seemed to disagree with me but have other ideas, and so there was a lot of good discussion on that video. Again, if you haven't seen it, you should go back. I've got a lot of comments to respond to. I want to say there was like 200 comments, so I got my work cut out for me. But today we are going to discuss AI aggression and game difficulty, which was tweaked in patch 2.2. And first of all, I want to read you their dev notes so that you know what's going on in the background. I've got some legendary Tyrion campaign going on that I played earlier, so that hopefully you'll just have something going on in the background. We've received quite a lot of feedback, this is the dev note, related to AI and game difficulty. Now, from what I've seen, a lot of people are saying the game is too easy compared to Warhammer 2. In this specific Tyrion campaign that I was playing prior to patch 2.2, the AI was aggressive at times, but only towards like unguarded minor settlements. Otherwise, they tried to avoid fighting you most of the time, unless they just felt like they had a massive disadvantage. So I was curious to see what they changed. It says, while we've been fixing significant issues, we also felt it was a good opportunity to increase the aggressiveness of the AI. However, this is a double-edged sword. For players that are already struggling with the game, this has the potential to worsen the experience. We need a lot more feedback on this topic to decide if these changes are correctly balanced. Please be vocal about your experience, and don't forget to add your difficulty settings. So CA is obviously looking for you all to provide feedback. There's probably a way for you to do that in the Discord that they have for Total War. I don't know if they still have the Total War forums. They might, but I know there's Reddit and all kinds of places you can give them feedback. Plus, you can go in the comments here and leave feedback, because I actually do want you to do that. Tell me what you think of these changes. Now, personally, I'll just give you a quick overview. I think the changes are probably good for them to try. There's definitely improvement that could be made here, so I'm a big fan of changes rather than not, just leaving things the same. But let's read through them and think through it. So some of the bigger ones are right here up at the front, though. It says increase the general AI army aggressiveness to balance between current Warhammer 3 and former Warhammer 2 values. Added additional difficulty scaling for aggressiveness on very hard and legendary. That makes sense. There should be additional aggressiveness. This is something I've said in the past where I think that those difficulties, rather than just being a whole bunch of cheats for the AI, would be more fun if it just made them much more aggressive. So I like where that's going, potentially. I'll have to test it and see. It says tweaks for AI behaviors around settlements. They're now more likely to attack. That's probably good. There's actually been quite a few times where I've seen the AI walk up to a settlement they could probably take. They decided not to take it, and again, they really just seem to focus most of their effort on the unwalled settlements, which gets pretty old. Increased faction potential bonus for higher difficulties. Don't know what that means, but sounds like something that's going to make it harder on Legendary and very hard. Added increased XP gain for AI units and characters. That makes sense. It's going to be trying to make those tougher whenever you go to fight them. It says reduced AI-generated diplomatic goals from 2 to 1. I don't know what that means, and I have no idea how it's going to impact things. Adjusted AI skill selection for Khorne, Tzeentch, Kastalton, Kugath, Boris, and Greasus. There's not a lot of explanation around that, so I don't really know what that means either. It says adjusted how AI deals with character yin and yang effects. I'm assuming that means the AI is going to try and disrupt those or something. It says increased priority for AI to build garrison and wall buildings. That makes sense, to have them not leave their stuff completely undefended. AI behavior with commandments. Now, remember, though, if they build walls and garrisons, that there's no guaranteed victory. They're going to get to actually fight inside the settlement, which was the whole discussion we had yesterday. AI behavior with commandments that consume slaves has been adjusted. Settlement AI will now be aware of stealth units trying to capture victory points. And I'm assuming that was something where you could game the AI by just using a stealth unit. It says the AI will now reliably research technologies that cost money. The AI will no longer be able to directly declare war on vassals of human factions. So I guess they have to come after you instead. It says fix multiple cases when respawned AI factions would become inactive. That's a good deal. It says addressed a bug where the AI would avoid entering a settlement when attacking it. Also, that's quite good. The AI will no longer be reluctant to upgrade the last level of a chain if the chain was already present in a faction. Don't know exactly what that means, but sounds like they're going to try and get the AI to keep upgrading their stuff. It says attacking AI armies in siege battles will no longer commit to approaching a ladder if there are other easier means of nearby entry. This is a good change. Improve the AI's use of agents, which should lead to more agents being embedded in armies and fewer cases of large numbers of agents from several factions congregating around each other. This is good, because AI does tend to congregate a crapload of agents on the map that don't always do them very much good and would actually just be better in their armies. So I think that sounds good. AI now uses a dynamic region hint system as part of its evaluation when declaring war. This should decrease war declarations by distant factions that are unlikely to come attack you. Also, a good change here, so I like to hear that. It says various factions have had their base faction potential changed as part of a start position of moves and other changes. So they've changed where some factions start on the map, which changes their potential to grow, I believe is what they mean here. And we might talk about some of those new start positions at some point. It says legacy nerfs to the Barrow Legion when controlled by the AI from Warhammer 1 have been removed as they were no longer necessary, and they said thanks to the modding community for pointing this out. So modders winning again. Minor Tzeentch factions have been prevented from using changing of ways in Immortal Empires map as well as Realms of Chaos. This will likely require a new campaign to take effect. So that is a lot of changes to the way that the AI aggression is going to work. Now, will it make a big difference in a campaign? I don't know yet. I'm only just now starting a couple of new campaigns on my own. I'm going to continue playing ones that I already have going as well. Hard to say whether this will really change things massively until we just get a chance to get more familiar with it. If you've already put some hours in and you've played a new campaign and you think you've noticed a difference, I would love for you to share your feedback down in the comments. I think that would be very helpful for all of us, and would definitely love to hear what you all are experiencing. Now, for me, and I'll go ahead and cover this here, for me, the biggest problem that I had with the way the AI was operating on, say, like this Legendary campaign, it didn't, I mean, like, it was Legendary difficulty in a sense, right? I had a harder time keeping the happiness up in my settlements. I had a harder time, you know, having enough money for more armies. Like, so there were certainly some things that were harder about it being on Legendary. I couldn't save it where I wanted to, you know, stuff like that. However, there was multiple times the AI had an opportunity to just literally end me early in the game. Had their faction just focused on coming after my armies or my capital, and they would choose not to. They would go after my minor settlements, at which point I would use ambush stances and other tricks to get the AI to single themselves out, and then I would destroy them in one-off battles, which allowed me to survive, thrive, and get to this late point in the campaign. Now, interesting enough, late into the campaign, I'm still having some very tough battles like this one here. I've made a lot of mistakes there in the background, by the way, too, if you all have been watching. But the AI just, its aggression foiled its ability to be more difficult multiple times. They're not good at coordinating attacks. They don't seek out your armies. They only seek out your minor settlements. I'm glad to see CA making some changes. I hope these changes lead towards the AI being more aggressive in a useful way, rather than just in a pointless way. My biggest gripe against the harder difficulties in this game is that they are arbitrary and boring, meaning that the buffs that CA puts in there are just things that are easy for them to do to make up for having a very bad AI. I see people frequently defend these things, and they say, no, Air, it's okay for the AI to just cheat and do all this stuff. That's what makes it harder. Yes, it can make it harder, but it also is stupid and boring. Again, my opinion. You may not feel the same way. If that's the case, fine. But right, this is going to go down to the difference between me enjoying a game where the difficulty means something, and a good example that I could give of that would be like Metroid Dread. The difficulty ramps up significantly from like the regular into the harder setting, but it is rewarding. It teaches you how to control better, and by the time it's all said and done, you're a better player, and you like that you played it on the higher difficulty, whereas I don't get that feeling from Total War on Legendary, which is why I very rarely play it on Legendary. It's not fun, it's a grind, and basically you're just having to figure out ways to overcome the AI's massive cheating. So I'm glad to see these changes. I think this is hopefully CA trying to take steps in the right direction. I don't know whether it'll be successful on this first run. That remains to be seen, and again, I'd love to see your feedback, but I'm glad to see him making changes and attempting to make this better. I think that this is a good move for them to at least try something, and it sounds like that they're open because they opened it up at the very beginning saying that they wanted a bunch of your feedback and that they might adjust things. So again, I like this move in general. Whether or not these specific moves are going to pay off, time will tell. But I'm glad that we get an opportunity to see something different. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out for now. You all make sure to get down to the comments. Tell me what you think so far of the AI aggression changes in patch 2.2.